There we go. What's up, Evan? Damn, that's a name I haven't seen in a while too. Yo, what's good? Yo, So what happened to Farmer Taylor? So in short, since you know about that, right? I was gonna farm. That was the plan, and it is still the plan. But long story short, back in last year, we were farming. I got video, I got pictures, I got everything, right? And we did our first harvests and stuff like that. It was good. It was gonna be going good. And then the 2 hurricanes came. And then it killed everything. It flooded the land. So I don't know how long the flood lasted because it was at my grandparents. But the flood lingered for a hot minute. And even if the flood went down or went away, you couldn't plant anything because the water would have it was too wet. The seeds would have rotted. So we did like 1 harvest and it was very bountiful. And then FADC into damn, God said you sucked. So that happened. And then we had to wait because nothing really grows in the winter. So we had to go and wait. And then, on a personal note, my grandpa got, he's old. My grandmother went into the hospital, and then to the point where it affected the farm, their farm life specifically, to the point where they stopped doing commercial sized farming because of how intense the hospitalization was. And then combine that with being old, it's not fun. And when I mean old, I mean old, man. Like, they don't have machines. They have a machine to till the land, but they don't have these military grade freaking gardening tools. Everything's all by hand. Everything's by hand. So being old, it sucks doing that. So yeah, they stopped doing it on a commercial scale. They still farm for, small areas, but just not as big as it was before. That's what happened to the farm. And then recently, I guess I could put my controller down. Recently, my family and I was able to get a house in these hard times, thankfully, because of Etsy. Remember, I gave this up to work on Etsy. And it's funny because I tell this to my mom and then she gets mad at me. She's like, why would you give up? I didn't tell you to quit your dream to help me. And I'm just like, well, thank you, Shadow. I was like, well, it worked. Like, we got a crib. I was almost homeless last year too, just for a note. We got a crib, we got a new car, and that's just goes to show that this Etsy thing was the right path. It was really, really good. It helped me get all this curve monitor, new PC, and all this kind of shit, man. I love it. And then tariffs hit. So now I'm doing this. You did what you had to do. Plus, there's no rule that says you can't loop back around and do what you want to do again. It's true. No, you're absolutely right about that, Nightfall. The thing is, though, I haven't done this in so long. I was having a panic attack preparing for this stream. I was having legit a panic attack looking at this go live button and be like, oh my god, I'm about to die, and let alone with the face. It's been that long, and I'm just glad there's people here so I can just talk my shit. Going back to the farming, we just got a crib, and the backyard is not that big, but I could do something with it. So that's the plan. Now that we have a crib, we got rid of every storage that we had, and we're saving money and focusing more on Etsy and all this kind of stuff, getting stuff sold on Amazon, and it's working. It is working. So it's cool. The only reason why I haven't done farming either this year is because, as I said, we got rid of storage. Everything's in the back. Everything's in the fucking back. So it's a waiting process, but I'm pretty sure by like next year I'm gonna start it. My grandpa actually came over and he planted 2 seeds of the produce that he sells. One of yard-long beans and the other one of bitter melons. And both plants have done extremely well in the dirt. And it says a lot too when were blistering heats in Florida, and they'd lived. So, farming is definitely going to be there. I would encourage anybody to farm at this point, because just recently, with one harvest, my grandparents made $2,000 to $3,000, and they could continue to get that money because guess what? Plants always produce. So that's the plan. I'm still going to do it. I'm going to do this, going to do Etsy, going to do Amazon. I'm going to farm and then try to survive. That's what we can all do, man. That's all best we can do. Especially in these times. It's horrible. Once you settle back into it, I think you'll be okay. Just make sure to cut yourself some slack. No! That's not me trying to be a dick. It's me being so serious. In these times, you have to slave, man. In these times, you have to. As much as that sucks to hear and say, it's just the truth. You have to slave away. I had money to get a new PC. I didn't want to get a new PC, but I had to do it. All right. I got a curved monitor. This shit's proving extremely good. I got Discord. I got the camera settings. I got events. I got OBS. I got streams. I got the chat. Curved monitors. I think everybody should have a curved monitor at this point. It's really, really good. It's just, you just have to work, as shitty as that sounds. I mostly mean running myself into the ground. I've been running myself into the ground since 2018, 2017. Because of family businesses and what we used to do. And yeah, and then again, I was in a really bad state of mind. I was in a really bad state of mind because I knew that I really messed up on BB Tag. Do I regret it? No, but I could, accept my faults. I was harsh enough to make people realize that, you know what, they could see a little bit of truth that I was saying. I could have been successful, but ever since that incident, back then, because like I said, I was working around that time too. I was doing the Etsy and stuff. But I saw that I was, it was taking time off of me. So I did what I did best, and I gave this up. I gave it up. That's all it was. And then I worked myself to the ground from there. And if things go right, it seems like it is, considering the tariffs. Now, I'm not against it or with it. The fact is that we have a small business, and it's absolutely destroying. It is absolutely destroying small businesses. What does that mean to small business owners? You have to hike up price in order to make some kind of profit. It's rough, man. It is rough. And we don't know what the future is going to hold, because what is it? Usually around this time, we would get an influx of orders because people want to order early for Christmas. And in Christmas, I have to stay up every single day on all the way from November to December. I got to stay up until 10, right? That's nothing compared to my parents, but I'll wake up until 10. But then I would pass out around 3 to 4 a.m. the next day. And I had to rinse and repeat. And it's yes, I'm going to complain about it. It fucking sucks. But it's to get orders out. And that's how much I work. And as you can tell, it fucks with my head. That's how hard we work, man. Freaking only during that time, right? Because it's Christmas. You have to work that hard. It's horrible. Nah, you could have been successful if you beat Goichi on Honor Night. This is true. This is absolutely true. But then the nerves got to me. The nerves and those monitors back then. Those monitors that were used at EVO were so bad, man. I remember everybody complaining about those monitors back on that freaking EVO. Why was there so much input delay? I don't know. Pros were dropping combos, man. I hated that. Yeah, that's the update. But there's more to it. Like I said, not just my grandparents here. My grandpa in California got hospitalized as well. funerals. Not for him, but you know, funerals did happen for my my mother's side. So I was basically depressed for like 7+ years. Wait, did you play again? Did you actually play against Goichi? Yeah, I fought Goichi at Evo. I got a single round, and that's enough bragging rights for anybody, right? Getting a single round off one of the gods of Japan, right? Yeah, you can look it up. I fought Evo in Undernight Uni Clear, and it was on main stage, so you could look it up. That's a crazy flex. Is it though? Is it? I mean, yeah, like I said, I know it can be, but I'm not bragging. You know why? Because dude, I am a faceless content creator. It wasn't until now where I just had the balls to actually do this, right? Because if many other people can do it, I can try to do it, so. But at that time, I was faceless. There was only like 2-3 times where I did show my face. And then at Evo, we're like, Jerome Talos? Yeah, I'm here. All right, you're going on main stage. What? What do you mean? Yeah, you going there. I was like, what the fuck? But I'm glad to know that at that time, when I was doing a lot of, you know, creation and making fighting game stuff and grinding for a Twitch partnership, that my skills for that fighting game proved very useful when facing against Goichi. And again, I got 1 win. It was a round, yes, but it's 1 win. I did, if you guys could look it up too. So that happened. The farming got all put on hold. Then grandparents on both sides got hospitalized, from my dad to my mom's. And that was earlier this year. Yeah, just a lot of shit just been happening. It's just a lot of bullshit that's just been happening, and it's just combine that with everything that was happening earlier. When I dropped this, right, with the whole Discord thing, can't trust people, relationships just breaking off. It caused some mental issues. Not like, oh my god, I'm worthless. No, it's just it was not healthy. And then I don't even, dude, I have such old technology. I don't even go on like modern apps, social media. It's crazy. Like my only social media still is Twitter. I don't use Facebook. I don't use TikTok. I don't use Instagram. What's the one with the ghost like icon? What is that? I don't use that. I don't use nothing. I don't use no dating apps. I'm just doing me, man. I have no time. I just focus on the work. So there's that. So aside from a lot of the depression stuff, oh fuck, man. I found a new hobby, which is great. Snapchat. Thank you, Nightfall. Yes, I'm doing this live on Twitch. If you guys are going to be watching this on YouTube, I did I got into a new hobby with all that stuff, because like even I got to a point where I was on the floor and the only things that I had were, you know, my phone, my iPad, and a fucking monitor. Right? A monitor with my PlayStation. My computer is brand new altogether, because it was in storage for so long that it was just obsolete. It sucks, man, that how long I've just been gone. You guys have no idea how stressful it is for an ex content creator who never done face cam, who never done content in such a long time, to literally hit the record button. It's insane how stressful that can be, right? It's crazy. But anyways, back to the hobby. Other than, you know, watching One Piece make myself feel happy, watching things with my boys in the Discord that kept me, you know, sane, right? And I appreciate them for that. I got into the card collecting, but this was when, you know, things didn't fucking hit the fan. I got into card collecting, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh. I love my One Piece. That's my baby. And then that got put on hold. So what did I do after all that? I got into reading. Reading what, you ask? Warhammer. So let me go get my books. So I got my books, and the first book that I read was Heroes of the Space Marine. Plural. It's just a collage of short stories, and this was my first introduction into the writing world. This is a really old book. I don't know how crusty you can see it. It's yellow. It's gross. But this was my first introduction, like a couple years ago. I think it was a couple. Damn, it's been that long. Holy shit. And then I read, another short story collage of Death Watch. Right, that was fun. And I read this bitch though, the Eisenhorn Omnibus. This was the first big boy that I've got through. Obviously still in the universe, but a side character nonetheless. And it was a really, really pleasant reading. It was sad as hell by the end of the third and second book, but it was a really pleasant reading, and I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this so fucking much, man. This was amazing. So shout out to Eisenhorn, the Omnibus. I highly recommend it. And then I get into the Horus Heresy just recently. The first book, Horus Rising, I loved it. I love Loken. I think everybody's gonna like Loken, right? He's almost like the main character right now. Really good. It's really, really cool. You could see how Horus was before he turned to Chaos. You could see how, the Mournival was, Abaddon and freaking Little Horus, right? And what was his name? Torgadon. There it is. That's the Mournival. And you get introduced to this, and it's great. So that was a nice little thing. But you fight against these freaking mega arachnids, and you see Sanguinius and the Blood Angels and shit like that. You see the bond that Sanguinius has with Horus. That's my dad right there. I love Sanguinius. That was good. You got False Gods, which I believe is when Erebus comes into the picture, like in full front, because I think this is also the book where I could be wrong. I'm not too sure, but I read it. It's either False Gods or Galaxy in Flames, where Horus gets extremely fucking sick. Like, they were describing how his eyes were like in his goddamn skulls, like he's thinning. It was bad, dude. This is, you fight the mega arachnids at the end of it all. Somebody says, "What have you done?" False Gods happens. Horus gets gravely injured, and you go into the moon, and you see the rotted moon where everything is just mud and shit. Like, it's gross. So False Gods is the second book of the Horus Heresy. I loved it. And then you get Galaxy in Flames, where you see Horus's betrayal in fucking full. It is so messed up. It is so messed up, dude. Like, I love it. Because at this moment, he is like full on chaos right now. And he brings in these journalists that were on his ship, and they're like, "You want to see war? This is what war looks like," right? And so he shows himself dropping virus nukes onto a planet, and then they just see like the horrible aftermath. Not literally the aftermath, but it was like the moment and then the aftermath, because the virus bombs with the nukes were like flesh things where it would rot you away like almost instantaneously, almost looking like goo. And then that's not the end of it, because after the virus eats you, and then all of a sudden you get this extreme flammable gas, and then literally just a single bullet onto a planet can ignite it, which happened. It was crazy. And then he murked all of his journalists inside the damn ship. And then we get to the fourth book, The Flight of the Eisenstein, which is obviously another continuation of this series right here. And it's awesome. It's awesome. At the end of it all, you go around with somebody by the name of Captain Garo, and you see how his faith is like dwindling, but not really. It's kind of weird, because he has this inner conflict within himself, saying, not really saying, but it's like, do I want to believe the Emperor to be this holy being, or do I just, he's granddad. I gotta respect him. And then he turns out that he gets, when he fights one of his allies, he gets this immense strength to actually kill him on the surface of the moon. And then there's this great scene where it's described like he's floating in fucking space. He got ejected out with the enemy that he's fighting, and then he's like on his dying breath. Then all of a sudden he himself in that moment starts believing that the Emperor is with him and all this kind of shit, gets a surge of power, and then he was able to defeat the enemy. And then as he's floating like sideways on the moon's surface, he looks to Terra, Earth, and then he like puts his hand on his chest and like chose right then and there to start believing in the Emperor and saying that he is, his flesh and all this kind of shit. It is amazing. If you want to get into the Horus Heresy, these 4 books are like extremely fucking mandatory. And they say that there's a lot of books that are just like, there's a lot of filler content, which is insane to think in the Horus Heresy. So I love these books. They're one of my favorite things I've done in the past, in all my years, really. Like, I guess when I started playthroughing Danganronpa back in like 2015, fucking it like ignited like a reading senses, I guess. And then ever since then, I just liked reading, only if it's good though. Only if the material was good, the writing, the pacing, the characters. If it's good, I'm all for it. If it's not, I'm tossing it into the fucking bin. Keynote, the Horus Heresy is 56 book long. 56 books in total. And there's a lot of filler content. I'm fucked. That's so many books. And this one, The Flight of the Eisenstein, I think it got mass printed recently, but it wasn't mass printed in so fucking long that these books were going to like $60 to $100. I got this for $60. I pulled in a favor. Yes, I pulled in a favor for a book, but it was $60 in mint condition. Dudes, people were selling this shit all torn up, like this Heroes of the Space Marines where you get the ugly ass looking spine, right? They were selling it for like 120. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Now let's get on to the other books. This was one of the first books I've actually bought, Legacy of Caliban. It's a chunky boy. It's fucking chunky, man. I didn't get to it yet though. But the thing is, like, these books cost like $10. So it's like, dude, it's so dirt cheap. So when I shit you not, when I was sitting on the floor last year with just a freaking monitor and my PlayStation and my iPad, yeah, I could just watch YouTube. But dude, you know how tiring that fucking thing is? It's like, it gets kind of boring. We got the End of the Death Volume 1. I got hold out on this because it was a reprint and I thought it was going to be big beefy, but no, it's a fucking small ass book with small text, which is fairly new. End of the Death Part 2. And this is what I was expecting. Look how big this thing is, man. Look at my dad, Sanguinius. That's my pops right there. And then we got End of the Death Volume 3. Small form factor, which is kind of depressing. We got the Siege of Terra books. You got The First Wall, Lost in a Dam, and The Solar War as well. This is the end game of the Horus Heresy, when they reach Terra and then try to fight Rogodorn and shit. So I love that. And then this is one of the newer ones. It's called Era of Ruin hardcover. It's a fucking hardcover, man. It's awesome. I love it. I was able to snag this with quite ease, and dude, I haven't read it because, it's the end of the Horus Heresy, and it pulls together a lot of stories and shit and adds new stuff, so there's that. And then I got this book called The Crimson Fist Omnibus, but another collection of stories, but we'll get to it. What I'm currently reading, though, is Saints and Martyrs. Yeah, this is a lot better doing it somewhat in the daytime because I don't have this giant fucking glare. This is a Adeptus Sororitas omnibus, and these are, the Battle Sisters. And this is going through the journey that is the character known as Saint Celestine. She's apparently some amazing fucking character. Like, she is this legendary woman. And to the point where, you know, apparently she is dead, absolutely. But for some reason, the Saint Celestine, can appear in, you know, some of your gravest, like, place. If you're fucking losing a war 10-1, right? There's a chance that Saint Celestine can literally just appear. She could spawn over there and, like, change the battle. Books have been almost like a saving grace to keep my sanity going. With all the shit that was happening in my life, dude, just reading, going into a different universe, it's great. I can't believe I'm saying this, but, like, fucking reading almost, like, saved my life. It's crazy. So I love it. I love it. I want to get into Warhammer Fantasy as well, but we'll see. And I want to paint whenever I grow. I think that would be like a cool sub goal if I were to reach, like, I don't know, fucking 50 subs or something. If I keep this going, and I could paint freaking my Blood Angels, because that's my Legion, right? I would love to do that, but that's going into the far future. I gotta see if this is gonna work or not on YouTube and Twitch. So I have a LED, like, I have this headboard with LEDs on it. It came with it, right? And I just turn on some music on my fucking TV, and then just read. I read to, like, Final Fantasy 14 music. I read to, you know, those Warhammer hymns and shit like that. I read to whatever, like, even the lo-fi stuff, even though that's a little weird because, like, it would describe faces melting all of a sudden. Like, it's crazy. So I played some games. The latest game that I finished to beginning to end would be Metaphor. A lot better than P5, I could tell you that fucking much. But it could definitely use some improvements. And I've just been chilling, taking care of my handicapped dog. He's still alive. I am pretty sure you guys know him, Bentley. Still alive and kicking, thankfully. Bentley's still kicking, yes sir. Yeah, he's still a mop. He just has all his hair. He's old. Basically, this IP kind of, like, saved my life, to be honest. It saved my mental state. And okay, let me put this out there. Yes, I'm into 40K right now. Yes, it's a new hobby. Yes, it is popping off now because of Henry Cavill, right? I already knew about the IP, though. Now, I didn't know about it, like, a lot, but I knew about the IP because of a old YouTuber by the name of Total Biscuit, or the Cynical Brit. May he rest in peace. A video that he made long ago that it was about Space Marine, Warhammer 40K Space Marine on the 360 and shit like that. And I'm not gonna say I'm an old fan, right? But I definitely watched a lot of his shit back then. I love his personality. I love his takes. And then it wasn't until his collaboration with Angry Joe back then, when they were playing XCOM together, that I decided to take a peek at his repertoire. And I really liked Total Biscuit, man. I miss him to this day. I really wish I had the chance to meet him. But Total Biscuit was the one that definitely planted the seed of Warhammer 40K into my brain. It just, now Henry Cavill is the one that made it sprout. So, and as I said, I was just not in the real proper mental state back then. Because yes, I gave this up. But there was a lot of BS that occurred up till now. From personal stuff, Discord stuff, life, and then, of course, being fucking almost homeless. So that's the update. And hopefully, just hopefully, this will be the final update forever. And I could actually come back and stream and do whatever I want again. Now that I could, you know, punch this fucking wall, because it's my wall. Yeah. It's my wall. I could do whatever the fuck I want. I could hang up my posters finally. I could get a setup going. So, I'm happy with that. If you guys want to say something, say it to my wife, Nico Robin. Now, whenever I get my setup going, I'm gonna have my figures up. I'm gonna have a bookshelf as a fucking decor as my backdrop. Can you believe that? A bookshelf. I can't wait. But Nico Robin, she's smoking. I am accepting applications. If you look like Nico Robin, IRL, right? And you play Final Fantasy 14, hit me up. You're only gonna get a Nami lookalike, man. It's not bad. It's just like, damn, you're right. And I guess that's like the update so far. I got this new setup going. I got this a mic arm that I stole from my brother. My parents believe in this, and they got me this Shure mic ages ago. And then I got, 4080 Super off my own money. I got new inner parts, now rocking DDR5 RAM and stuff like that. I got this curved monitor. Like, if I could get this going again, oh shit, if I could get this going again, that would be great. I just got to do some tweaks and stuff, but a bitch will be happy. So, thank you guys who stuck it out as long as you guys did on this channel and on Twitch. It means a lot. It really, really does. And the fact that the one time I went live, which is yesterday, right? For a test stream, we had 40 plus people coming in. 40 plus. And then I look onto the stream archive and I had like 900 fucking views on that video. That's awesome. So y'all are really my fuel. So thank you guys very much for that, man. Seriously.